Why do all kids with autism want to be alone?
How do I play with someone who has autism?
You can play with someone who has autism the same way as you play with anybody else. But remember, they might not understand the rules, or they might play a little different. So either you can adjust the rules of the game for them, or explain the rules a little simpler. And sometimes somebody who has autism might be able to show you how they're playing, and you might play the way they're playing, and you might learn a way to play the game that you never thought of before.
And welcome back, everyone, to Living with Autism. The clip you just saw was from the Friends Like You, Friends Like Me program. And it's a nationwide program that teaches so-called normal children how to interact with children who are autistic. It's one of the many outreach programs offered by Children's Specialized Hospital in Mountainside, New Jersey. The hospital, the largest provider of autism services throughout the state here. And we're very pleased to be joined by Dr. Jill Harris, who is a director there as well. Doctor, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
The CDC report that has gotten so many people talking, you yourself called it a game changer. Why is it so significant?
Well, because the numbers are so startling. And I think that in some way it was not a surprise because we see more and more children, adults with autism every day. But it really put a statistic behind what we're seeing, and that each of those numbers represents a real child, a real family, a real teen, a real adult facing so many challenges. So I think in that sense, people are becoming more and more aware that it's hard to really find somebody who isn't affected by autism one way or the other, either through a relative, somebody that they work with, somebody in their neighborhood.
Your hospital participated with the CDC in this report that
Right.
came out. What are you seeing different in the last few years than you did maybe 5, 10, 15 years ago?
Right. Well, I think one thing that's definitely different is that there's so much more awareness out there. Things in the media, people's experience, and I think because people are more aware of it, there seems in some ways less of a stigma. And so we're finding, different from a few years ago, more that families are saying, look, you know, I'm concerned, I want to have this checked out. Whereas maybe several years ago, it would be more that somebody else had raised concern, maybe it was a teacher or a pediatrician or something. This time it's really more that the families are the first ones to notice, which is good because if hopefully they can get the child diagnosed at an earlier age and get effective services lined up quicker.
And in addition to obviously your role at Mountainside, you also are a mom. And tell us about your son, who's now in his mid-20s. He's a high performer with autism, right?
Right. Well, my son is in his mid-20s, and the good part is he recently graduated college, which is a fabulous thing.
Congratulations.
And so in many ways, I think he's doing well, kind of on a different timetable, so it might take longer to reach certain things like getting a driver's license and graduating college. But even that said, even though he's high functioning, there are such struggles on a day-to-day basis for him and for us as far as finding employment that's appropriate for his level, coping skills, handling the anxiety. So I think that, you know, autism spectrum disorder has such a wide range, but even at any level, it can be a devastating disorder to live with.
What I can also imagine is the fears that parents who have autistic children, when they send them out of the house, what they're sending them to. And this story yesterday made national headlines and in the state of New Jersey, in fact, at Cherry Hill. I want to show you the clip here. This, again, a disturbing incident captured by a father, his son, autistic, as I said, and the teachers at his school. They were sending home notes saying that his son was being violent in class, uncharacteristic reflection of the boy's behavior. Now, again, the boy here, about 12 years of age. Well, the father said, doesn't just sound right. So he wired his son with a recording device. And I want you to take a listen to how teachers spoke to his child, and then hear the father's reaction, which he then posted on YouTube.
Do you know what I was doing this for? David? Oh my God, so bad. The wine one. Please don't do that. You don't have any. Knock it off. Go ahead and scream, because guess what? You're going to get nothing. Oh, are you? And your mouth is shut. Oh, okay, you are.
You call my son a bastard? What kind of sick, twisted person does that?
Well, thankfully, at least, there was an answer to that. The school district moved swiftly here. and both women, both teachers that you heard in the audio were disciplined. There's an open question if one teacher was moved to another district, but that a conversation for another time. Speak both as someone who's worked in this field for as long as you have, and then also a mother, because you send your kid and you just hope that who's ever going to be looking after them and educating them and giving them therapy is going to have always their best interests in mind. But just like you have to do an awareness campaign with the general public, it seems that not all professionals are professional.
Right, and it speaks to so many different things, including the need to have training at all levels of the school system, the teachers, administrators. In many ways, people on the autism spectrum kind of can be perfect victims because their communication and their socialization challenges sometimes could make it difficult for them to read the situation accurately or to communicate their concerns. And what is really very distressing about this situation is that it's as if this boy was not even viewed as a person of value, that kind of viewed as, well, he can't possibly understand what's going on. And it's just so worrisome because there are statistics that suggest that people with developmental disabilities are at least 3 times as likely to be the victims of abuse, partly because of feeling that they're devalued or that they are not going to understand or they're not going to tell or they're not going to be believable. I mean, there's so many things behind it, but I think that one of the things that this incident speaks to is the need to make sure that the teachers have the skills. I mean, even when she was saying, you know, shut up or something like that, that's not a behavioral disciplinary technique to just scream at somebody. You know, so have these teachers had some training about how to understand the functions of behavior, how to prevent situations from having it.
And do they value these kids like they would value any other kid in a quote-unquote normal classroom? I mean, that's the part that you feel for that father there.
Right.
You optimistic where this goes? And I ask because a lot of national attention and international. I mean, we even saw numbers out of South Korea where if it's 1 in 88 in the States, there's 1 in 38 there. And with that attention, do you think there'll be more clarity and also more consensus on how to deal with the population? Because one of the things for me that I'm surprised at was, depending on town to town you go to, let alone county or state, there's different resources available, there's different aid, there's different reimbursement, there's different protocols and curriculums. What do you hope comes out of this?
Well, I am optimistic. I think that with more and more attention, we're learning much more, I think, about services at work, where there's more research being poured into different kinds of causes and possibly different kinds of treatments. So I am very optimistic. I am concerned about what happens as people age. Yeah. And is the community ready? Are there services there, residential, employment, acceptance, meaningful social inclusion, meaningful friendships, money behind it to fund those services? That part worries me, but I am very, very optimistic.